Hey everybody, it's Monday, November 17th, 2025. Welcome to the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast, where we're three happy campers. It's me, your man, MG Marcas Grant, joined by Michael F. Florio and LaQuan Jones. And I guess we used to say that it was rare that a Sunday all three of our teams won, but it seems to be happening quite a bit lately. So happy Monday, guys. Happy Victory Monday to all three of us.
Happy Victory Monday to you, Florio. Of course, I don't want your team to win ever again. Just let's start that there. I don't want to be toxic starting off because it was a good weekend.
You already have.
You don't want my team to win ever or Marcus?
No, my team.
No, Marcus.
You should be rooting against my team as well because if they win the
you guys,
division,
I'm not worried about you guys.
Stealing the MVP.
I'm not worried about you guys. We'll get
more
to
yards and touchdowns.
Oh, here you go. How many times are you going to sneeze and turn the ball over, man? Like, geez.
We are not even 60 seconds into the show. This is already happening.
Look, kudos to Stafford. He is the favorite, and it is his to win, right? But if the Bills come back and win that division, that's all I'm saying.
And them turnovers, brother, you giving teams a chance. I mean, that Dolphins L, that's a little embarrassing to see on the little win-loss streak, though.
Hey, it's not great, but it's the first player ever to do something, and he's done it twice. So,
oh boy, he's talking about his legs, Marcus. He's talking about his legs.
No, I'm talking about 3 and 3.
3 and 3. 3 touchdown passes, 3 touchdown runs.
That's great.
This can go on for a while, so let me jump in here. We got a lot to talk about on the show today as we get into the Mondays. As we, get ready to close the book on week 11, get ready for week 12. Wow, we are almost here. We're going to talk some backfield reports because a lot of wonky things happening with running backs around the league. Of course, we'll have waiver wires, we'll have drops, and a little bit of WTF is going on because there were some, maybe surprising fantasy scores from the weekend that we will get into. But let's get started with some news because there is a lot of news on the injury front coming up this past weekend and a lot of notable names. Go through them. I don't know if all of them are worth talking about. We can dive into them here as we go along. Josh Jacobs had a knee injury. He left in that win over the New York Football Giants. I'm still kind of gathering word on how serious it might be, but Florio, I would assume this means in the short term, if he can't go, he being Jacobs, it's Emmanuel Wilson season. Huh?
Yeah, that's how it was yesterday as well. Look, you're not going to be able to replace Josh Jacobs, but Wilson was out there. He was the clear-cut lead back once Jacobs went out. They sprinkled in a couple of other guys, but he was the guy. And this week they get the Vikings, who on paper might not be the best matchup, but it should lead to favorable game script. Like every single game with JJ McCarthy is a competition of like, can he have a huge comeback in the fourth quarter or not? So it should lead to game script. I don't think Wilson is like a must-start option this week, but I do think he's very much so in play as like an RB2 or a flex or streaming option, depending on the makeup of what your team is,
All I know about JJ McCarthy is that against most teams, and really for 3 quarters against the Chicago Bears, he is not great. But for whatever reason, in the fourth quarter against the Bears, he comes to life and turns into a Hall of Famer, just marching up and down the field. And I know our pal and producer, Hytham Kalani, he was at work, I'm sure, yesterday, but was probably not loving life, watching McCarthy nearly bring them back for another win. If it wasn't for a big kickoff return that set up the Bears for a game-winning field goal, it would have been a mess.
I tweeted out that the greatest quarterbacks of all time is J.J. McCarthy in the fourth quarter against the Bears and Tom Brady.
That's it. That's it. I mean, that's the whole list, apparently, because he's amazing against the Bears when they are down late in the ball game. I can't explain it. Over to Atlanta, LaQuan, Drake London left the game with a knee injury. He's already been ruled out for week 12, which does not bode well for what's going to happen in the next few weeks. On top of that, Michael Penix has a knee injury that could cost him the remainder of the season. So, no Drake London, no Michael Penix. Kirk Cousins means he is coming back to play.
Ooh.
Anybody there in Atlanta that you can get yourself excited about in this situation?
I mean, can we look at Kyle Pitts and be like, yay? Because where has my guy been? I was not okay with the Kyle Pitts tour concert of the other night because looking at it, it was just like, okay, Drake London's down. We should be getting Kyle Pitts activated. We should be getting him as the number one target. But then now we're looking at Kirk Cousins as calling hike, and there's a different speed to the game from him. Like, it doesn't look like he's back to Kirk O'Chains. Like, there looks to be like a delay in everything that Kirk Cousins is doing. And it's like, I have no hope, right? Like, really, like Drake London, that notification, it destroyed my whole morning because like it messed me up in the middle of making breakfast that I was so messed up. I put the cereal box in the refrigerator this morning and closed the door and walked away. That's how messed up that Drake London getting injured right before the fantasy playoffs has happened. That's like one of the worst notifications I got this morning. But looking around at a Darnell Mooney, my guy's been limping in every single game. Like, this guy cannot stay healthy, and there's not much that. Like, David Seals is there, and he stepped in place for Drake London before, you know, in that one game against Carolina where he was out. But I didn't see much from him on film. That was just like, he could fill the shoes of Drake London if he ever goes out again. No, like, I'm an unhappy fantasy manager right now. I'm a little worried about where I can pivot to on this week's waiver wire for longevity to keep my team afloat, losing such a huge piece like Drake London, plus the quarterback and Michael Penix.
You mentioned Darnell Mooney, by the way. I'm sure you saw the story that Raheem Morris let it out that Darnell Mooney broke his collarbone in training camp, like early in training camp. And they've just sort of been like, you know, oh, he's got a shoulder issue and he's working through it.
It was hamstring too coming into the year. Like,
my boy is broken.
This dude has been playing with a broken collarbone for most of the year. So like now all of a sudden, because I know we had expectations. I mean, he wasn't going to be a top flight fantasy wide receiver. We thought he's a guy that you could get some production out of, and it hasn't been there. Right. Now all of a sudden it makes sense why Darnell Mooney's not giving you production.
I'm hurt.
Dude's out here playing hurt. So thanks for that, Raheem Morris. Just, you know, things that should have been brought to our attention yesterday.
Yes.
Many yesterdays ago at this point.
I think one of the big takeaways here is just play the Saints defense next week. Like, Kirk Cousins is bad, man. Like, he can't move anymore.
I don't know what happened.
He is kind of just buffering in the pocket there, isn't he? Just the spinning wheel.
Achilles is still a career ruiner. I know a lot of people were like, oh, it's like tearing your ACL. No, it is bad, and it has ruined a lot of careers.
Well, and especially for a guy who wasn't the most mobile to begin with. Now you've lost even what little mobility you had, and just watching him try to maneuver in the pocket is it hurts me sort of watching that happen. Over to Pittsburgh, couple of injuries there. Aaron Rodgers with, I guess, a fracture in his non-throwing wrist right now. He says that he's going to try to go next week, so we'll see how that works out. But also Jaylen Warren with an ankle injury. Florio, it seems like Jaylen Warren was kind of the only thing worth following there in that Steeler offense, because DK Metcalf has been really underwhelming this year. The tight ends, just, you know, close your eyes and throw a dart at the board and figure out which tight end it's going to be. Jaylen Warren's kind of the one thing that we really can sort of count on. And, you know, hopefully this is not a serious injury for him, because I don't know, do we believe in Kenneth Gainwell that much?
I do think you could believe in Kenneth Gainwell because he might not be Jaylen Warren, but they're going to utilize him as if he is Jaylen Warren. And in the one game that Warren missed this year when they were in Ireland, he had a 3-touchdown game. I think he went for like over 30 fantasy points. He had a lot of volume yesterday, and they get the Bears next week, which has been a favorable matchup for running backs. I also think if you're a DK Metcalf manager, you should be hoping Aaron Rodgers sits. Aaron Rodgers right now is averaging let me make sure I get this right, 5.9 air yards per attempt. That is awful. They have the highest percentage of yards off of yak in the next gen stats era, which goes back to 2016. That is not DK Metcalf's strength. All three of us were talking about that coming into the season and stuff, and it never made sense on paper. It hasn't made sense stat-wise, fantasy-wise, any of it. So maybe Mason Rudolph coming in and just chucking that thing downfield is exactly what DK needs.
Those are not words I thought would be said this year. That Mason Rudolph is what DK Metcalf needs. Just didn't think that was going to be a thing, but here we are.
We thought that for a little bit, didn't we? We didn't know Rodgers was going to Pittsburgh at one point. We thought it was going to be Mason And DK,
Yeah, but we weren't
Pickens.
excited about Mason Rudolph as the starting quarterback there.
No.
Like,
I'm not excited. I just think it might be the better of two options right now. Which is
that's
sad.
Hey, throw Will Howard out there. Let's get a run of him. Is he still on the active roster?
This is what we're doing here. I mean,
Please no.
Aaron Rodgers really might get Mike Tomlin fired, huh? Like this really might happen.
Oh no, don't let it be him. Please.
That's really what's going to happen at this point.
It was a 2-touchdown 30-point game for Gainwell, not 3, but the point stands.
The point stands. Exactly.
Yeah, Gainwell can ball. I mean, if Warren is down, obviously you go pick up Gainwell, and I'm sure folks are probably ironing
I got
the way
so lucky this week in a league where I was just decimated with injuries. I was like, I'll throw Kenneth Gainwell in as a flex. 30 points later, I was so lucky.
Yeah. I mean, look, to use a worn out social media joke, his name isn't Kenneth Gain Poorly. It's
all right, Dad.
That's all I got over here, man. Like, don't expect better material from me. What do you want? Down in Tennessee, Calvin Ridley, who just came back from an injury, was not back very long. He ends up with a broken fibula on Sunday, and his season is over. And LaQuan, I just have to ask, is his time as a fantasy relevant wide receiver, is that done now?
Like, injuries aren't funny. Like, there's no joke that could land here that could be appropriate, but bro, just put the cleats up, chalk it up, go ahead and clock out, Chief, because it's done. I can't even sit here and try to fathom even looking at 2026 to making him a fantasy rosterable player, because I think his time in Tennessee is done. I think they're moving forward with the younger guys. I think Van Jefferson has proven his worth himself to actually be on the field as a full-time starter. I think Alec Ironmanner is going to eventually blossom into this wide receiver 2 or 1, whatever they're trying to figure it out. But overall, moving forward, like Cam Ward needs like a veteran presence there. He needs like a wide receiver 1 if they're going to look forward in 2026, moving anywhere the needle period in this offense, because what we're seeing like week in and week out is just like a team that is still trying to figure it out. But it's week 12 at this point. Like, what are we doing? What is the identity of this offense? Like, Pollard isn't startable. Spears, we have these high hopes for. There's not much of like upside that I see, coming from, this Titans offense, period.
Yeah, I mean, they've been bad. They're 1-9. They're not moving the ball. There's nothing really to speak of. Cam Ward, we haven't even mentioned Cam Ward's name out loud in several weeks. I mean, that's kind of how it is right now with this offense. It's kind of all bad. Calvin Ridley's the guy who just, we had high hopes from him a couple years ago. Between injuries, he had the year that he took off he had his mental health issues that he was trying to work through. Then he had the suspension. It's just never really panned out for Calvin Ridley at this point. So that's, I don't know what else to say about it.
It's been a run, Chief.
It's been a run. I mean, remember like way back when it was Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley in Atlanta, and like they were ready to be the next great dynamic duo.
And then Ridley took his job. He took my job.
Well, it's funny because they sort of followed the same path, right? I mean, they go to Tennessee, which really is kind of a rest home for aging receivers.
Wow, Ridley maybe to the Eagles. Come on, let's finish it up. Let's go do it.
I don't know if he'll be what he ever was before fantasy, but I'm hoping that he has more football left in him.
I mean, I hope so too.
He's only 30
for like another month. I think he turns 31. Yeah, I think he turns 31 like in a month or something like that. So
and with a broken fibula at 31, that recovery is about to be crazy. Yo, he's not going to be as explosive as he was before. Like, we might as well already just rip the Band-Aid off and stop trying to like make him fantasy relevant next year or the year after that, whatever the case may be.
What's going to happen is when he's back, let's game this out, right? Let's say he's back for the start of next year. He'll be that guy that you'll be late in your draft. It'll be like round 12. You'll be looking around and like the clock's ticking. You're like, where do I go? Like, Calvin Ridley. He'll get a couple targets. And then
and he's right next to Adam Thielen. Yeah.
And you'll click draft and you'll immediately be like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that.
That was Alvin Kamara for everybody this year.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I wish him the best in recovery, but I do think that the idea of Calvin Ridley as a quality fantasy option probably out the window at this point. Well, as per usual, there were some fantasy performances that maybe we did not see coming. Some guys that you weren't really thinking about that went big this past week. And so I got to ask the question, WTF is going on with some of these? So start off, Florio, with Bryce Young, who I was texting you guys because in one of my leagues, I had the dilemma of, do I start Bryce Young? Do I start Marcus Mariota? I went back and forth, and eventually I went with Bryce Young over Mariota. And watching that game from Madrid made me, at the moment, I was just like, oh, well, this is going to be great. And then Bryce Young started poorly, and I was like, this is terrible. But in the end, Florio, 448 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 31, almost 32 fantasy points in the overtime win over the Falcons. WTF is going on? This isn't really a thing, right? This isn't really Bryce Young at this point, is it?
No. I mean, look, Bryce Young could get hot every so often. We know that, particularly when he plays the Falcons. Like, he has 2 games in his career with 3 or more touchdowns and no interceptions. Both have come against Atlanta. 4 of his 12 career wins have come against the Falcons. Like, he just there's certain matchups where defenses have a QB's number. Like, the Browns have Lamar's number, but Bryce Young has the Falcons defense number. You know, it's just one of those things. I will say this, though. Next week, the Panthers, they get the 49ers, I believe, right? Yeah. Monday night game, I think Bryce Young is in play as a streaming option in that one. But yes, it's still what he is. He's a streaming guy in the right matchup.
Why are you? I mean, never mind. I was gonna say, why are you so excited about it? But I know why. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, I think he is a stream. But see, I guess here's the thing about it, because I spent the last couple of weeks, and Adam Rank and I have talked about this on Fantasy Live on set, that the hard part about Bryce Young is that, generally speaking, you plug him in and you can just expect 12 to 15 points. Like, that's kind of it most of the time, which makes him kind of unappealing because the floor is not super high. The ceiling's not super high. And so you just, and so then he does something like this where he gives you 30 and all of a sudden you have hope. And, hope is a dangerous thing. And that's sort of how I feel with Bryce Young.
Hope will get a man killed.
Hope will get a man killed. 100%. Have you seen that movie, LaQuan?
No. What is that?
No, he has to watch it. I watched it again over the weekend.
I saw it on TV. I stopped and I watched a good hour of it before I had to leave the house.
That's exactly, like, you don't watch the full thing. You just see it. You put it on for however long you're sitting there, and then you go about your day.
And then you go about whatever you have to do, right?
It's usually on TV for like 4 hours.
It's always on television, for real. Yeah, anyway. Sean Tucker, who I know a lot of people like this week, LaQuan. I mean, he's been playing well. He's getting a lot more opportunity. The Bills' run defense has not been very good this year. Sean Tucker, 140 scrimmage yards, 3 touchdowns, really making Rachaad White irrelevant. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's going to give you 34 fantasy points every week, LaQuan, but are we entering the Sean Tucker era in the Bucs backfield?
I sure hope so. Like, I'm buying tickets to the sequel. I want to see Bucky and I want to see Sean Tucker rest of the season. Rachaad White, I think we know what he has been these last couple of seasons and what he can provide. But like, this was a layup matchup for him. And like, yeah, he had positive yardage. Yeah, we saw a little flashes and moments there. But if he plays the Bills every single week, he's going to look good. I mean, no offense, Florio. That legit was not a shot. But I'm just saying, like, the Bills defense is kind of bad against the run.
I said none taken.
I ain't lying. My fault. But I was looking at it. I'm like, Sean Tucker has shown this flashes that he obviously has the juice. Why would they go back to Rachaad White in a Bucky Irvin type of split when you see Sean Tucker conform regardless of the defense? Like, when we got it last season in that Saints game, both of them were RB1 productions in terms of fantasy and both had over 130 scrimmage yards. Like, what are we talking about? This is a situation that the Bucs need to evaluate actual talent. This guy's giving it to you on the ground, and he could be utilizing the passing game. Why not? And he could pass block. He could do each and everything that Rachaad White is trying to do, but at a higher level. So with Bucky coming back, why not split the backfields between Sean Tucker, who is obviously handling that workload on the ground, and with Bucky Irvin? Like, I really don't want to see Rachaad White for the rest of the season, to be honest.
Now the fear becomes, though, and maybe I'm overthinking this, Florio, that now is Sean Tucker going to start eating into Bucky Irving's workload a little bit? Because when he was healthy, he was getting about 75% of the snaps. He was somewhere around 75, 80% of the rushing attempts. Can they put this Sean Tucker genie back in the bottle, though, considering how well he's played?
You can for Bucky Irving. Like I do agree that he should surpass Rachaad White, and I've never been a Rachaad. Even when he was an RB1 that year, I've been like, this guy is not a good runner, and he hasn't been. Like he's not explosive at all. And Sean Tucker's the exact opposite of that. He's highly explosive. I will say this too about Bucky. He was averaging 3.3 yards per carry before he got hurt. So I do think there is a world where Tucker can eat into Bucky's workload, especially since he was out for so long and they were kind of weird with this injury news. Is he 100%? We don't know. But I still think Bucky sees a heavy enough work share where it makes Sean Tucker like a big play reliant flex guy. Like in the weeks where he doesn't hit a home run, the floor is probably pretty low.
Yeah. I think that's probably fair. But yeah, Rachaad White, you very much look like the odd man out there. You're down there.
They got the Rams coming this week too, so that's worth keeping in mind when you spend all that fab on him.
Yeah, good point too. Yeah. That's definitely something to keep in mind for sure. Speaking of the Buffalo Bills, though, Tyrell Shavers, I went back and watched that game, and Tyrell Shavers, exactly. 4 catches, 90 yards, a touchdown. I mean, Florio, watching it, there were definitely a couple of scramble drill plays where he got up. His touchdown was very much a Josh Allen just trying to buy some time. And he's like, hey, look, Tyrell's down there, and hit him for the long touchdown.
Disrespectful throw.
It was a disrespectful throw. Absolutely. I guess the question is, I mean, WTF is going on, but also, is this like curtains for Keon Coleman after he got essentially benched for missing meetings during the week?
I don't think it's curtains because they've been pretty vocal that like they're not done with Keon, that this was just a 1 week thing and that he was supposed to play until he missed that meeting. It's the 3rd time already they've had to do this with him, which is the frustrating part as a Bills fan. But for fantasy, I think we might be getting to the point where not a single Bills pass catcher is fantasy relevant because yesterday, none of them played more than 53% of the snaps. They were going legit 6 deep at receiver. And then you could bring in Keon Coleman. I don't think Gabe Davis is going to go away. Shavers, they use a lot on special teams. So like maybe it's Curtis Samuel, maybe it's Shavers, maybe it's Coleman. I don't know. But it seems like they're going to really be rotating them. And it's kind of a better for best ball situation, right? Because like Shakir is the one you think you can rely on, but they don't use him downfield at all. So everything is just bubble screens to him. It's not really a super fantasy friendly role. And on top of it all, they get the Texans next week. Like, I think if you have a Buffalo Bill outside of Josh Allen and James Cook, you should probably be looking to sit them next week.
Obviously, you watch the Bills a lot closer than either of us do. Is it common for Joe Brady to forget that James Cook is on his team? Because I definitely got that sense yesterday that they just forgot James Cook was there for at least a half.
Yeah, Bills fan, like literally in the AFC Championship game last year, he didn't touch the ball in the final 9 minutes of that game. Like, yeah, it is a problem. And even more than it being a problem is when he forgets. It's usually late in game, the biggest play of the game. Like that 2-point conversion when they were trailing yesterday. James Cook wasn't out there. Like, it is very, very something that Bills fans have been extremely frustrated with all year, even going back to last year.
I mean, I see, there are a number of Bills fans that I follow on Blue Sky, and the Joe Brady dislike is palpable. So I really made it a point. I went back and rewatched that game specifically last night, partially because I still wanted to see, I wanted to see the game because it was a bananas back and forth sort of game, but also I just kind of wanted to get a sense of what they were talking about. I was really like, why isn't James Cook getting, every time James Cook got the ball, I'm like, why isn't he getting the ball more? And why do they keep trying him on these toss plays where the Bucs have the edge set like all the time? I was just confused by a lot of things with the Bills yesterday. That's all.
I'll say something negative about my team, right? Like I don't think Josh Allen played a great game yesterday, and he had a historic performance. Like if you watched it back, Marcus, there was a number of deep throws that he wishes he could have back, and he missed.
Yeah, he missed a couple of throws. The interceptions were.
The first one was dumb.
The chest pass he tries to throw. Like, I don't know just what dumb. That was.
My MVP ain't doing that, brother.
That was a bad
Your MVP
decision.
Isn't doing 90% of the stuff Josh Allen can do.
Here we go.
Look, I love Stafford. He has the best system built around him of any quarterback.
Also, he looked more like John Stafford yesterday than Matthew Stafford.
All right, chill out now. That was a big win, brother. That was a big win. He made some big plays. I mean,
it was a big win.
The ball.
It was a big win. He made some big plays. He had a chance to ice
the game. What happened?
But the Seahawks defense also put them in clamps for a good portion of the ball game.
That's because McVay wanted to milk the clock too early and started doing dumb stuff as he usually does at the wrong time. Like, just, bro, play the game and keep the foot on the gas. Like, what do we do? Y'all going to get me to crash out.
Wait,
for like
McVay completed 53% of the passes yesterday?
Oh, here we go. Did you not see Devontae Adams drop 2 big passes? Like, bro,
I mean, one of them was, it hit him in the hands, but it was a bad throw.
Stafford was under pressure. What do you expect? He was not even supposed to get that ball off of his hands.
Can QBs move around when they're under pressure? Or
Florio, you have to understand, Matthew Stafford can never fail. He can only be failed.
Bro, coming from a person that refuses to take an L. Florio, what did he say Friday or Thursday? Oh, yeah, even when I lose, I win. Oh, cool. Like, come on, just take the L, bro.
Hey, Brock was back yesterday. They were balling out. I'm just saying.
Purdy is back, but he ain't in the MVP conversation. This big dog.
No, nobody said he was. But Christian McCaffrey might be.
Anyway. You made the case for it yesterday, and it got even stronger.
Speaking of 49ers, former 49er Deebo Samuel had maybe his best fantasy game of the season. 7 catches, 74 yards, and a touchdown in what was just an otherwise sloppy and kind of miserable game to watch in Madrid. I mean, LaQuan, we don't know what the status of Jayden Daniels is going to be going forward at this point. It could be Marcus Mariota for the rest of the season. We don't know yet. Is this a one-off for Deebo, or maybe are him and Mariota connecting on some level?
I think they were connecting on some level when Jayden Daniels first faced injury. Like, the target share is always going to rely with him. It's just a matter of, does Deebo show up this week? And we cannot pinpoint that because we are just the fantasy analysts that try to follow the tea and trend leaves. And like, what this has shown is that connection is still existing, that Deebo can still be explosive at times. He's not thick Deebo. He is really Deebo in shape and ready to go. So I think more so on a week-to-week basis, I can always tag him as a flex option, you know? Like, I don't see like him having that high ceiling as a wide receiver 1, but if I have other options that have safer floors because Deebo seems to be matchup based, and I think we can kind of write in our heads and kind of paint that picture that Mariota is going to play at least leading up into the fantasy playoffs. So you're just hoping that that target share that he has to him is going to be strapped to him moving forward. And we need some more explosive plays, Cliff Kingsbury, like put Deebo in space, like give us the old 40-winers type of Deebo, you know, those type of plays, and design him in areas to be successful.
I mean, let's see. I've been saying this for a couple of years now. Like, Deebo Samuel is a better real life football player than he is a fantasy football player. And I think we still have in our heads that 2021 season where, you know, he had the 1,400 yards received, which is, by the way, the only time in his career he's ever had more than 900 yards.
That guy's long gone.
He's never had 900 yards receiving in another season. You know, he had the rushing touchdowns that year. What was it? 8 rushing touchdowns that season. And I think we still have in our heads that, like, yeah, this is Deebo Samuel. Like, no, that's the outlier season. The real Deebo Samuel is a guy who will move the chains and he will make big plays for you. But the ceiling generally for him is going to be kind of low. And, you know, that's, I think, kind of what he's been in Washington, except they're not winning.
I didn't think of this in live time, but Deebo probably should, like, I argued Brady should have won that MVP, but it probably should have been Deebo with the amount of work that he did as a rusher, receiver. Like, literally, that was also the season where every time he got tackled, it looked like it was a season-ending injury, and then the next snap, he was out there. Like, it was insane.
Then he rips off another 10 yards, you know? So, like, yeah, but, you know, it's a quarterback award, and if you are really great at another position, then they just satisfy you with, like, the OPOY, because whatever reason, voters are brain-addled. Sorry, I was about to kind of go off on a tangent. I will, actually, for a second. I guess what frustrates me about this, and this is not a 49er thing, this is just the MVP award, is that the people who vote for it, you will hear these people say, oh yeah, no, this guy's actually worthy, but it's kind of a quarterback award. It doesn't have to be. You're voting for it. You have control over this. Like, don't just sit here and say, well, it's a quarterback award. We're all trying to find the guy who did this. Like, why you have say, you can make this not a quarterback award. If you have a vote, you can vote for somebody who's not a quarterback. Don't just be like, Yeah, man. That's a tough scene, man. Jonathan Taylor, you're having a great year. Tough scene, though. We're going to give it to, a quarterback because that's just what we do. Like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. All right.
Hey,
rant over.
JT goes for $150 next week against the Chiefs. Give him the award.
Give him the award. Give him the award.
All right, slow down.
Anyway.
Offensive player of the year.
Which is why we need the NFL equivalent. I was talking to DeMarco Farr, former Ram, about this too. And he brought it up. He mentioned, like, college has the Davey O'Brien Award, which goes to the best quarterback. Now, you can win the Davey O'Brien and also win the Heisman Trophy, but it's not a guarantee that just the best quarterback in the country is going to win the Heisman Trophy. Travis Hunter is your reigning Heisman Trophy winner because people can look outside a quarterback and be like, that guy's really good. So, like, why can't we do that at the NFL where we have the NFL equivalent of the Davey O'Brien Award that goes to the best quarterback? And if you are the best quarterback and the best player, then you can get both. But it doesn't have to be that way. Like, we can create a better world, people. We can create a better world. We can do it. We can all do it together. Just take one step forward. Take my hand. We can go to a better world.
That might be next. I love Marcus crashing out on a Monday.
Backfield report. Since we're talking about running backs, the backfield report. Looking at some running backs that are in weird situations. And so yesterday in the text chain, LaQuan sort of had a minor crash out about how RJ Harvey had fewer touches.
I threw my phone after I sent that, by the way.
Did you really? How RJ Harvey had fewer touches than Blake Corum. And how he was cursing the name of Sean Payton. So that was like, now I got to get RJ Harvey into the show some kind of way. So the backfield report felt like the best way to do that. So look at the Broncos backfield from yesterday. RJ Harvey played 61% of the snaps, had 14 total opportunities and 50 yards. Jaleel McLaughlin played 13% of the snaps and had 7 opportunities, 14 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Bidet, 13% of the snaps. 1 opportunity, 0 yards. He had 1 catch, 1 target, 1 catch for 0 yards. That was Tyler Bidet's day yesterday. So LaQuan, I don't even know what to say about RJ Harvey at this point because I thought if it was going to happen, yesterday was the day for it to happen. I know it wasn't a good matchup on paper, but it just felt like if they were going to ever load him up with touches, yesterday was the day to do it. It didn't happen. At this point, I don't see how it ever happens at all for him this year.
Sean Payton's a fan of the pod. I truly believe that he listens to us because every single
listens
time,
to us if he does.
Every single time, bro, where there's stars are aligning for him to do the right thing, he does not. And I think he does it on purpose, and it only hurts his team. But again, they come out with a W, so why change it? If it ain't broke, why fix it? And I think, honestly, RJ Harvey had opportunities to break off a couple runs. But again, this was a tough Spags defense. We know what the Chiefs defense is about. So start designing him more in open space. Give him more targets. We've seen him get peppered with more targets than what he had when J.K. Dobbins was healthy. So why we're not giving him the full workload? The script should have been RJ Harvey, 25 touches. RJ Harvey, red zone duty. I don't want to see Tyler Bidet or whoever else was out there. McLaughlin. I mean, was Audric Estime out there? Like, this was what pissed me off. Because every time I didn't see 12 on the field, I was just like, why?
I took this as a completely, I view this as a huge pop. 60% of the snaps, more than double the opportunities of the other backs. Like, right? Or double, I should say. I took it as, like, they get the Commanders and the Raiders after the bye. I think right now you should be trying to trade for RJ Harvey.
Right. All right. I mean, he also had a pass attempt for what it's worth. Like, they seem to like having him throw the football.
Why are we getting cute?
Too.
That's what pisses me off, too. I don't want to see that on the stat line. I don't even want to watch the highlight of him getting it. Why is he throwing? Give him the ball, bro, in his hands.
It was a terrible throw.
It was not a good throw.
It should have been intercepted.
Yeah, it was
I kind of wish it was intercepted. Just so Sean can be like, all right, my fault.
No, man. The game worked out how it was supposed to work out, you know? The result was what we all wanted.
Well,
it was, to be honest.
Sure. The Jaguars, it seems like for a good year and a half, maybe 2 years now, Florio, the Jaguars have been trying to move on from Travis Etienne. They haven't really been able to do it. Maybe now, because Etienne played 51% of the snaps, 21 opportunities. He turned that into 73 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Bashal Tutin, 32% of the snaps, 15 opportunities, 74 yards and a touchdown. He did leave that game, though, with an ankle injury, so that's something to kind of monitor. But I know we've all been rooting for Tutin for a good chunk of the year. is he, I guess when healthy, is he really going to start pushing Travis Etienne for opportunities now?
If healthy, and he, as long as it doesn't sap his explosiveness, this ankle injury, I think it's very possible, because he is he is the first like handpicked running back by this new regime there. They already had Travis Etienne on the roster, but more than that, I think he's just a more explosive runner than Etienne is, evident by having more yards on 6 less opportunities. So I don't think Etienne goes away, but I could see Tutin getting more and more use, kind of like last year when they used a 2 RB set. I do think Etienne will remain the heavy unless things really start to change, because he has produced well this year. But yeah, I think the Jags really like Tutin. I think they like what he brings them as a dynamic, explosive runner. And I was hoping for more of an opportunity before this week, so I'm happy it's finally happening. But yeah, we gotta monitor this ankle injury, because if he is out, then LQ's boy LQ will be the RB2.
Yeah, LaQuan Allen, baby, let's go. The other LQ, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll see. I mean, obviously, people were that was the reason when they traded Tank Bigsby to Philadelphia. We were all kind of like, oh, so maybe this is Bashaw Tutin season.
Is he the most explosive runner on the Eagles? Like, what is going on?
Yo, Tank is a subject though.
Maybe, but also they're using Tank in very small doses.
Yeah.
Like that feels like one of those things where if they suddenly started trying to give him like 12 to 15 touches, like it just would not work out.
He's on my watch list. Just in case for the fantasy playoffs, he's on my watch list.
I know this isn't a hot take at all or like a observation, but like the Eagles literally can't do anything right, and yet they're the best team in the NFL. It doesn't make any sense to me.
So my take all the way in week 3, back then, when I said they're the most overrated and ugliest winning team, you guys were saying,
well, that was emotionally driven.
It was, and it doesn't mean I was wrong.
You were in your feelings that day. They're also 8-2 and they're the 1 seed. I mean, like, it's not pretty. People who love the law and sausage and Eagles football should watch neither one being made. Like, it's not pretty to watch, but it's effective. I mean, that's just what it is. It's like Spurs basketball in the early 2000s, right? Like, they're only going to score 78 points and they're going to slow the game down, but they're going to win. And
they're the Chiefs
Eagles
from last year. Like,
they are. They're the Chiefs from last year. Like, they can't keep getting away with this, yet somehow they keep getting away with this.
They're the Chiefs, but with far more talent. Like, they have one of the best players at every skill position on offense, and they can't do anything with it. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't
and
get
the
it.
Lions suck. I mean, I don't even understand how that game went. Like, they were supposed to handle business. Got me looking silly. But shout out to J-Mo, though. J-Mo had a great game.
I mean, look, shout out to Dan Campbell for getting Jameson Williams back in our lives. Although, Dan, it's okay to punt. It's okay to kick every once in a while.
Yeah, 4th and 3 or whatever that was.
Like,
That was
it's okay to
wild.
kick every once in a while, dude.
you know, Dan Campbell and Sean McDermott are a reminder that we're getting old now because they need glasses nowadays on the sideline. And like, time comes for us all.
Comes for us all, for sure. One last backfield to get to before we hit a break. The Commanders, the 3-headed backfield looks real there, LaQuan. Chris Rodriguez, 45% of the snaps, 16 opportunities, 85 total yards. Bill, or we're calling him Jacory now. He's back to Jacory.
He needs to
back to
earn
Jacory.
Bill.
Yes.
Jacory Krosky-Merritt, 27% of the snaps, 10 opportunities, 33 yards. Jeremy McNichols, 26 snaps, 6 opportunities, 29 yards. I mean, I guess this is Chris Rodriguez's backfield, LQ, but that doesn't even seem very satisfying.
Listen, it's going to be a rental. It's his as long as he is staying productive. It's his as long as he's being an efficient runner. The yards before contact, he is positive in that area versus where you look at JCM or Jacory Krosky-Merritt, he is in the negative realm in terms of his stuff rate as well. So it's like, he's not that runner that we thought he was in the beginning of the season. Now Chris Rodriguez is hungry. This is a practice squad guy. Sniff, snap, sniff, snap. We saw earlier in the season, they put him to practice squad, they activate him, then they cut him. It's been like that for the last 2 years for him. So he is hungry. He is trying to make a statement like, hey, I can be the RB1 or 2, whatever you need me. If you put me in the game, I'm going to be productive. And that's everything we've seen these last 2 weeks. And I had him as a flex in one league, and I was a little worried about it because we've seen JCM really turn up in some of these games. The Chargers game, I believe it was, where he was an efficient runner and explosive, and he kind of just went back to being the RB1. But now Chris Rodriguez, 2 weeks in a row, he's found the end zone. He's found the opportunity to show I can take this job rest of the season. So for me, I'm putting my chips on Chris Rodriguez, for the rest of the season as a guy that, hey, if you're beat up at the running back position, he's still available out there on the waiver wire. Some folks didn't go out there and get him and plug him in the layup matchup against Miami, but I would look at JCM as a droppable guy. Like, he's nearing that drop zone.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't see any real reason to hang on to JCM at this point. I don't know that I really want any part of that backfield, but it does seem like the tide has turned toward
somebody asked me on my TikTok the other day and was asking, do I drop Tony Pollard or do I drop Bill? And I'm like, drop them both. Drop them both. That's where we're at. Like, in the conversation of Bill and Tony Pollard right now, it's like, yes.
By the way, I just want to shout out to my boy Anthony, who asked me if he should start Chris Rodriguez or Romeo Doubs. I told him Doubs over Rodriguez. I think in the end, I think it's like a difference of like 1.5 points. So probably it's like, I don't think either
Doubs, these drops, bro. You got to stop dropping the ball. He had like 3 drops.
But like, I mean, I think Doubs had like 7.5 points, and I think Rodriguez had like 9. So like, it wasn't a.
Those are my favorite start sit calls when you look back on it, and it's like, oh, they both were bad. Like,
they both were bad. So I mean, I guess I apologize that I might have shorted you 1.5 points. So hopefully that didn't make the difference in your matchup this week. I don't know. Because I have learned and gotten smarter, I've decided to put the drop zone ahead of the waiver wire so we don't have to end on something negative. So as we talk about guys that we are saying goodbye to at this point, you're giving us a twofer this week, LaQuan.
Yeah, a twofer. Now, I want to start off with Rachaad White. We spoke about him earlier, just being in the shadows of Sean Tucker. I hope the Bucs moving forward look at what he has put on film and give us the Bucky and Sean Tucker show. But now the big one, Xavier Worthy. A lot of folks are still hard, like pushing back in resistance of dropping him or even trading him before the deadline. My boy's averaging 7 fantasy points per game since Rashid Rice has been back. We're not even seeing one of his strengths on his utility belt being utilized, because when it comes to that deep ball, he only has 3 completions of 20 plus yards. That is the big play that we love from him. Tyquan Thornton has more than him. My boy is ranked. Xavier Worthy is ranked 79th among wide receivers in terms of those type of completions. So he's not even being utilized for what the speedster is supposed to be doing. I am not rostering this guy no longer. I'm not going to be putting him in my flex, trying to paint this picture that he has this type of, high ceiling and has somewhat of a safe floor because Patrick Mahomes is his quarterback. No. Patrick Mahomes has flexed that deep ball that we saw yesterday with Tyquan Thornton more often than Xavier Worthy. So he has lost his role to where he is just a decoy. He is just a speedster decoy that is just going to be running a bunch of 9 routes and pulling safeties, where you're going to see Rashid Rice, Tyquan Thornton, another fellow Quan, I love that he's part of the Quan clan, but I'm just pretty much done with Xavier Worthy, man. Get him off my roster.
2 games with more than 50 receiving yards this year.
You want to know who has more fantasy points than him this year?
Who's that?
One, Keon Coleman, and then Rashid Rice and Tyquan Thornton both have more. Like, Rashid Rice has played half the games and has more fantasy points. It's not even close if we're being honest. They're like 10 points apart.
Yeesh. Yeah, it's not.
Bye-bye.
Not great. All right, so Xavier Worthy, maybe it's time to part ways. Who are you saying goodbye to at this point, Florio?
Not as spicy, but he helped us the last few weeks. Parker Washington. I streamed him in a number of leagues the last 2-3 weeks, and it was a fun ride, but it appears to be coming to its end. Just 2 targets yesterday, 20 yards. Jacoby Myers was much more utilized than him. It sounds like Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be returning maybe as soon as this next week. So, yeah, I think in that. And Strange could be back soon for them. Like, they're starting to get healthier, and I think Parker Washington goes back to being a better real-life piece than fantasy piece. Yeah,
it was a fun ride for that week or two that he was a thing. But, yeah, I think that's probably at an end at this point. For me, it's Chuba Hubbard. Because when Rico Dowdle started, he got hurt, then Rico Dowdle started his takeover. But even after Hubbard came back, it was kind of like, all right, well, maybe he's still going to get some opportunities. He was still playing a decent amount of snaps, right? But the last 3 weeks, this is his snap count. 11, 11, 14. His rush attempts, 5, 3, and 4. The yards, 17, 14, 21. That's it. This is officially Rico Dowdle's backfield. It's not an offense that is going to score a ton of points. This is not, it's not even Atlanta, right? Where like you can, as much as we get frustrated by Tyler Algier, he's at least getting opportunities to score touchdowns, right? Like you can tell yourself a story where Tyler Algier is at least a viable option, right? I mean, obviously we know Detroit, both those guys still very viable. There are a lot of places you can look at and say, all right, I can see a room for a second running back. Carolina is not that place. And so, as much as we might have been trying to tell ourselves a story the last couple of weeks of, hey man, Chuba Hubbard, there's still some opportunity there. There's not. I guess if you have Rico Dowdle, you can maybe make a case to hang on to Chuba Hubbard as an insurance policy. But at this point, you're getting close to the playoffs. And I would rather use that spot on guys that can contribute, that I know can contribute to me immediately. I don't want to waste a spot hoping or wishing or fearing, I guess is the best term, fearing an injury to someone else. So Chuba Hubbard, I don't see a path forward at this point for him in fantasy. So there you go. Those are the guys that we are saying goodbye to. So Florio, the floor is yours on who are folks maybe you should check out on the waiver wire this week.
Jacoby Brissett has scored 19 or more fantasy points in all 5 of his starts. He's averaging
Yesterday
over 21.
was ugly, though. Yesterday was ugly.
2 weeks ago, it was ugly as well. It's not always pretty. It's more than often than not going to be ugly, but it's effective for fantasy.
Yes.
Bryce Young gets the 49ers, who I think it's now 6 of the last 7 quarterbacks that face them has scored 19. And then Tyrod Taylor, I don't think he'll be as good of an option as Fields fantasy-wise, but you'll probably get more passing numbers out of him. Running backs, we spoke about Kenneth Gainwell and Emmanuel Wilson. I think they are the top ads this week. Sean Tucker, the only reason he's not number 1 is because Bucky Irving is getting closer. Bayshall too, and depending on the injury there. Chris Rodriguez, LQ spoke about. And then some deeper names, Tajay Spears, Devin Singletary. Singletary got all the goal line work, which I think is
that's wild. You know what? That's how you know Brian Daboll's not there in New York anymore.
I did not think of that. That is 100% factual. At receiver, look, Dobbs is dropping everything. Christian Watson is not right now, so he's up there. Michael Wilson, because we don't know when Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be back. Luther Burden, I don't think this got talked about a lot yesterday, but he took over as the wide receiver 3 for the Bears. He had more targets than DJ Moore. I think you want Luther Burden on your teams. And then Xavier Legette, friend of the show, had a huge day.
Hey.
And free the feet, Mac Hollins had another big game on Thursday. And then tight ends, Dalton Schultz continues to just be a safe floor option. Hunter Henry gets the Bengals next week. That's about all you need to know. AJ Bardner, he's up and down, but he has been getting a lot of volume as of late. And then one of your boys, LQ, Chiga Okonkwo, gets a good matchup as well. So not the biggest week of waivers, but definitely names that you want to be adding.
Yeah, it's a tough week. When I was putting together my list of sleepers for the week, there weren't a lot of great options, especially at quarterback, because either it's a good quarterback against a bad defense or a bad quarterback against a good defense. So sleeper quarterbacks were tough. Sleeper tight ends kind of tough. So this is a week where you're trusting the guys. You're trusting the players you have, regardless of what the matchup is. Oh, I should mention too. You mentioned Tyrod Taylor. In case folks haven't heard, Justin Fields has been benched in New York, and so Tyrod Taylor. I don't have I can't find my little Ty God statutes.
I do love
my
Ty God.
Starting lineup.
The drought ender, as I call him.
The drought ender, yeah. I mean, he was the drought ender for the Bills. So he's going to be the starting quarterback for the Jets, I would assume, for the remainder of the season.
There's no power strong enough to end the Jets drought, though, unfortunately.
No, there's not. It will continue. The Jets will continue losing games until morale improves.
It's kind of their lore, and it's just what they are.
I mean, you've seen the highlight of Joe Namath running off the field after Super Bowl III, right? Pointing the finger in the air. He was basically saying, 1. We're only going to get 1.
You know what? It's still karma though, because Jet fans, when they went to those back-to-back AFC, as someone who grew up in New York, my God, you would have thought they were like Tom Brady and won 6 rings or something like that. It was annoying.
I mean, hey man, Mark Sanchez got them to back-to-back AFC championship games.
Kudos to them.
What he's done since then,
today.
What he's done since then, we don't have to talk about. So we'll leave it at that. On that note, time to put this one down. That'll do it for this edition of the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. Stay happy, safe, and healthy. Do good and live well. Enjoy the days, everybody. We'll talk to you again on Wednesday.